Hi everyone and welcome back to the Snakemake series. Today we will talk about how to debug your Snakemake pipeline. So before I go into the most common error messages and problems with the pipeline, I would like you to bear in mind two things. When we write the pipeline, we have the link between inputs and outputs, and that's how we are defining what we believe the pipeline should do. And at the same time, we have the actual output generated by each of these commands run by the rules. So the three issues that we can have is the first one, there is not a good link between the inputs and the outputs, and this is independent of what is run inside each rule. The second problem that we have is that there is a disconnection between the input and output change and what actually the command is running. For example, or typically the command runs and generates an output file different to the one expected. And the third problem is when you have issues within the command run within your rule. And sometimes it's difficult to access that information. So here we will show you how to use the log files to access those error messages and allows you to debug what's going on inside each rule. So let's dive into it. Okay, so let's start with a functional pipeline. We are going to have a pipeline that takes this sample.a file and then uses as an input for rule copy, and rule copy will just make this copy a file. This is how we implement it in Snakemake. We define the input sample_a, the output copy_a, and the shell command that will do the work with the CP Linux command. So when we launch the pipeline, we have there sample.a and then some copy.a that has the same as sample.a inside the file. Okay, that's good. So let's move now and add a rule all at the end of this very short pipeline that we will define the following way. We'll put it on the top rule all. The input will be the output of the rule copy, and we will use wildcards. So when we launch the pipeline, again copy_a is generated, and if we open sample.a and copy.a, they look exactly the same as expected. Now let's move on to the missing input, and this is when there is a disconnection between the output and the input of rules. In this case, for example, if rule copy doesn't generate copy_a, the rule all will start complaining. So let's go ahead and implement that error by removing the wildcard from the output of rule copy, and in this way the rule all will not have the required input. So when we launch the pipeline, of course we get this missing input exception where the pipeline says I cannot get this copy_a file from anywhere. However, there is a case in which we can get this missing input file having a perfectly well-formed pipeline, and this is when we forget to put or to give to the pipeline the input to the initial rule, in this case rule copy.a. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's remove the file sample.a and launch the all good pipeline, and you can see that you have this missing input exception, and in this case of course is sample.a that is required by rule copy. And if we put the file back, everything works again. Okay, now let's move to the missing output exception. In this case, there is a disconnection between what you think you are doing with the pipeline and what the pipeline is actually doing. For example, in the rule copy, the CP command might be given another output different to copy_a. In this case, might be given the file copy alone. So the pipeline will complain after running copy all, where is copy underscore A. So let's go ahead and implement that. We will change the output in the shell command by this fix copy docs.txt. And when we launch the pipeline, it seems to be working, but then says waiting 50 seconds for the file to appear, and then it does not appear, and you get the missing output exception issue. And this is because the copy underscore A txt is not being generated. Right, and finally let's move to the error within the rule. In this case, the pipeline is well formed, and when we run the command within the rule copy, in this case cp command, this doesn't work. Here we add a variable x after cp that will break it, so we will have an error message, and this will generate a log file. However, this can be tricky because we know that when Snakemake runs a pipeline and this fails, all the output, including the log files, are erased. So let's see how it works in the practice. We go to our functional pipeline, at least in terms of the other packs, and let's add an X after the CP to break that function. And when we launch the pipeline, we have this error in rule copy, and we are thrown the error message within the output of the pipeline. This output usually is very erratic. Sometimes it appears, sometimes not. So ideally, we would like to capture this error within a log file. So let's go ahead and do that within the output. So we can define like the appropriate result in the res variable, and then we can create a log variable, and then we can request that log file by using the 2-arrow output log, and this is a common Linux thing. So we run the pipeline, and the pipeline is functional. So rule copy is a copy of file A, and the log file is actually empty, as expected, because we don't have any error. So let's go ahead and break this command by adding that X. So we have the error message. We don't have the error as given by the CP function, and to make things worse, like the log file that we generated was removed because that rule failed. So that log file was removed. What we need to do here is to write the log file in this way, and this will allow the pipeline to, once it's run, even if it is given an error message, the log file will not be erased, so that we can access it and explore it. So here we run the pipeline. Again, we cannot see the error generated by the CP function, and only we can access it when we look at the log A file. Very good. So now let's go ahead and fix that pipeline again, and we launch it, and we will see that the pipeline runs fine, and that both the copy underscore A and the log A files are generated. Well, that's it for today. I hope these tools help you debug your pipeline. Leave your comments below if you have any questions. Check the other videos in the series, and don't forget to subscribe. See you then. Bye.